Hello there, my dear friends. In continuation of our comprehensive series of instructional videos about the LS brand M100 inverter, today we want to get much more familiar with another powerful feature of the M100 inverter. The specific feature we are going to learn about today is the analog output capability of the M100 inverter, which has a single analog voltage output. And you can certainly make a wide variety of different and practical uses of this analog voltage output in your projects. For example, if you have two separate M100 series inverters and you want both of those inverters to function simultaneously at the exact same frequency, you can use the dedicated analog voltage output terminal of the first inverter and securely connect that signal directly into the analog voltage input of the second inverter. By following this method, the first and second inverters will operate at the exact same frequency. Alternatively, you can use this analog voltage output and connect it directly to an external display so you can view the frequency or current value on the screen as well as various other operational parameters. These are the parameters we need to set, so we have to enter the OU parameter group. In OU01, we need to specify what this 0 to 10 volt output from the inverter's analog output is supposed to represent. Based on what criteria? If you set OU01 to 0, it will be based on frequency. What this does is it divides the range from 0 to the maximum frequency you have set in the M100 inverter across the 0 to 10 volt range. So at 0 Hz, the analog output voltage will be 0 volts, and at the maximum frequency, for example, if you set it to 50 Hz, at 50 Hz you will have 10 volts at the analog voltage output of this M100 inverter. Now, if you set this parameter to 1, your 0 to 10 volt output will be based on the actual output current. If you set it to 2, it will be based on the output voltage, and if you set it to 3, it will be based on... This component will function as the DC link of the inverter system, but the OU02 parameter is defined as the gain or the level of your analog output voltage. If you set it to 100%, which is also its default value, it will give you the full 0 to 10 volts at the output. Alright, but for the specific wiring we're going to do in this instructional video in what we want is to utilize the AO and COM terminals. AO and COM are related to the analog output of the M100 inverter. We want to establish a connection between these two terminals and a voltmeter to observe the resulting analog voltage output here. Let's apply all the settings we've learned to the M100 inverter. Let's connect them and test the analog output capability together. So, as we said, to set the analog voltage output of the M100 inverter, first we need to enter the OU parameter group. OU1. Here we need to specify based on what parameter the 0 to 10 volts will be output. The inverter gives us options. We want it to be based on maximum frequency, so we set it to 0. We set OU2 level, as we said, to 100%. That means we want the maximum to be 10 volts, meaning at 50 Hz or 60 Hz, the maximum frequency, we should have 10 volts. Okay. I'm switching on the power for the voltmeter and adjusting the dial to DC voltage. Now, our peak operating frequency is 60 Hz. If we give the inverter a frequency of 30 Hz, it should give us 5 volts at the output because our maximum frequency is 60 Hz, and at 60 Hz at the output, we will have 10 volts. Now I'm setting it to 30 Hz. And I'm starting the inverter. Now, as soon as my frequency reaches 30, you can see that I have 5 volts at the output. My maximum frequency is 60 Hz, meaning at 60 Hz I should have 10 volts at the output. I should have the analog output of the inverter. I'm changing the frequency to 60. When the frequency reaches 60, I should have 10 volts at the output. And this right here represents the resulting analog voltage output produced by the M100 inverter.